Dear any community, what do you mean by Adhyashana? How to grade the Adhyashana? So this is the most common question. So that will be encountered by an Ayurveda practitioner or the learner. So this is this topic of discussion today. Dear community members, press the like button and spread this particular video to maximum number of true Nidana learners so that we can make a huge movement out of this particular small message. Don't forget to press the bell icon so that the YouTube algorithms will be fetching you the right information at the right time for the right purpose. When you think about the grading of Adhyashana, first of all, we need to know about what is the meaning of Adhyashana and how we are going to grade this particular Adhyashana is the topic of a discussion here. So the term Adhyashana, it is considered to be described in Charaka Samhita, that is Bhuktam Purvanna Sheshetu Punaradhyashanam Matam. So the Chakrapani commentary says Purvanne iti Purvanna ityadi diva bhuktasya upari tadahareva punaha bhujyate tadadhyashanam. Of course, so this particular grading of Adhyashana is a very relative term. So here there are two images. So the first image shows the consumption of food at around 8 o'clock in the morning. Second image is showing the consumption of food at 9 o'clock in the morning. When you think about the overall the presence of the food in the alimentary canal, the food may remain in the stomach for about 2 hours, which may remain in the small intestine for a period of 6 hours, which may remain in the large intestine for a period of 24 to 48 hours. So when a person is doing the Adhyashana, so that means the food will be remaining in the stomach soon after the consumption. But here the consumption of the food is being taken before the emptying of the food substances which are already being consumed, that is present in the stomach itself, that is did not leave stomach to the duodenum. At that particular time, the person is going to consume the food. So that is what is considered to be Adhyashana. Now, what are the different criteria we are going to consider while discussing about this Adhyashana? Let us say because of the factors as such, so grading of the Adhyashana is considered to be a huge task and laborious task. For example, dominant of the food that has been consumed, that has to be considered whenever if you are thinking about the Adhyashana. Proportion of the different rasa in the food substances, timing of the food substances as such, prakriti of the individual, position of the individual while consuming the food, quantity of the food consumed, and behavior of the individual during the consumption of the food. These are the different factors we are going to consider while grading the Adhyashana as such. Now we are going to look into these one by one. When you think about the dominance of the food as such, suppose if the person is going to consume 30% of the Madhura Rasayukta Ahara at 8 o'clock, so that increases Kapha dosha itself. Suppose after 9 o'clock, if the person is going to consume again 60% of the Madhura Rasa substances, so that may lead to even much more severe variety of Kapha dosha as such. Around 11 o'clock, if the person is going to consume the 80% of the Madhura Rasa substance, so that is considered to be responsible for the even much more degree of vitiation of the Kapha dosha as such. Thus, so we have to think about the dominant rasa which is being consumed at the time of the food intake. So that is going to decide the degree of Adhyashana or degree of dosha prakopa in case of Adhyashana. When you think about the proportion of the different rasa in the food substances, for example, the person is going to consume all six rasas as such. On the first time, at around 8 o'clock, he is going to consume the food substances in this particular manner. 60% of the Madhura rasa, 5% of the Amla rasa, 5% of Lavana rasa, and 26% of Katu rasa as such in this way. Whereas the second time, around 9 o'clock, he is going to consume the food substances having this much proportion. That 40% of the Madhura rasa and 36% of a Katu rasa as such. On the third time, at around 10 o'clock, the same individual is going to consume 30% of the Madhura rasa substances and 56% of the Katu rasa substances. Thus, so all these are considered to be responsible for the varying degree of the dosha vitiation as such. Thus, if the person is going to consume Katu rasa substance initially, that is responsible for the mild degree of the Pitta or Kapha dosha vitiation, and 36% on the second time as such, it is considered to be the degree of the Pitta or Vata dosha vitiation, maybe a little bit severe, and in the third time, it will be the maximum vitiation of the Pitta or Kapha dosha is going to, Pitta or Vata dosha is going to take place. In that way, so the proportion of the dominant rasa in the food substances, that is going to decide the dosha vitiation in case of Adhyashana. When you think about the timing of the food consumption, so when you think about that, for example, if the person is going to consume Katu rasa substance at the beginning itself, in that particular sense, there may be the possibility of the at the contact of this Katu rasa substance. Suppose if this is the one morsel, this is the second morsel. So in that particular situation, the depending upon the area, so these food substances may reach the stomach wall. At the beginning itself, if the person is going to consume Katu rasa substance as such, so that will be reaching the pyloric end of the stomach. Or if the person is going to consume the Katu rasa substance in the middle, so there may be the possibility of the instead of staying at the bottom, so these Katu rasa substance may stay somewhere in the middle itself. Suppose if the person is going to consume Katu rasa substance at the end, so there may be the possibility of the presence of these substances at the upper part itself. In this way, so the timing of the food consumption may influence the dominance of the Vata dosha or dominance of the dosha itself. Suppose as the Katu rasa is responsible for the vitiation of the either Pitta or Vata dosha, so we are going to expect the changes we are going to observe these here itself. As we are knowing, Katu rasa substances are responsible for the inflammatory responses. At the beginning, there may be the inflammation somewhere in the pyloric end itself. If the person is going to consume the food substance in the middle, inflammatory responses may be observed in the middle part of the stomach itself. Whereas at the end of the food consumption, if the person is going to consume the Katu rasa substance, there may be possibility of inflammatory reactions at the upper part of the stomach itself. So here there is another image, so which helps us even better understanding. For example, first morsel somewhere come over here. So in the sense, there may be the possibility of inflammatory reaction to happen near the pyloric end. Second morsel, as such, there may be the possibility of the inflammatory reaction to happen somewhere here. So like that, there may be the localized inflammatory responses is going to take place in this particular example. So let us look into the lateral aspect as such. So this is the lateral view of the abdominal region. Suppose this is considered to be the vertebra and this is considered to be the stomach as such. So in that particular situation, the first morsel, if it is reaching here, then there may be inflammation that is going to take place in this particular region itself. If there is the second morsel is going to take the place of its stasis somewhere here, there may be the inflammatory response that is going to take place here itself. Suppose instead second morsel is reaching somewhere just above this particular first morsel, then inflammatory response may be limited to this particular area. So in this way, the timing of the food consumption is considered to be responsible for the inflammatory responses that is going to take place. In that way, there may be the possibility of vitiation of the dosha. As far as prakriti of the individual is concerned, when you think about the prakriti of the individual, so that is itself is a varying factor, depending upon the uniqueness of the individuals, depending upon the nature of the diet as such, depending upon the nature of the physical exercise, depending upon the nature of the emotions or mental strength as such, there will be the varying degree even in case of the prakriti itself. In this way, the nature of the food substances may also vary. Depending upon that, the nature of the adhyashana may also vary. Sometimes the person may take the food substance at the beginning, or sometimes the persons are going to take the food substances half an hour after the initial food substances intake, or sometimes the 1.5 hours later the person is going to consume the food substances. In that way, the nature of the food as such, that is also deciding the what do you say, the grading of the adhyashana. And quality of the food substances also may vary. Sometimes the person is going to take very thick curds. Sometimes the person is going to take very thin curds. Sometimes the person is going to take the buttermilk with a little amount of the what do you say, that the butter in it. In that way, so the quality of the food consumption may vary. Based on that, the person may have the adhyashana grading may vary. Then regarding the position of the individual also counts a lot. Suppose if the person is after consuming the food or during the consumption, if he is staying in this way, left lateral position, then probably the first morsel may be somewhere here and second morsel may be somewhere here. Now, depending upon the nature of the food, the contact into the stomach as such, there may be the inflammatory responses may be observed the here itself. In this way, the adhyashana as such may also play the positioning of the individual will be considered while analyzing the adhyashana as such. Quantity of the food consumed. Suppose if there are three individuals. First individual is consuming the curds with 1 cup as such. Second individual going to consume with 2 teaspoons of sugar as such. And the third individual is going to consume the 3 cups with 4 teaspoon of sugar in each. In all these situations, the person may have the varying dosha dominance depending upon the adhyashana, depending upon the behavior of the individuals while food consumption. Suppose if they are talking or if they are laughing, etc., that is considered to be responsible for the varying quantity of food intake. Thereby, the person may have the dosha vitiation may also vary. Thus, the adhyashana grading is considered to be a very difficult one or laborious task it is, and it is a relative term. Relative term in the sense, to one person it may be adhyashana, to another person it may not be adhyashana. And the factors that may be considered while grading the Adhyashana, so that may be varying about the proportion of the rasa dominant food substances, that may vary even on the varying quantity of the food substances intake, uniqueness of the prakriti of the individual, and uniqueness of the behavior of the individual in different situations. Thus, there may be the possibility of either one dosha vitiation or two dosha vitiation or all the three dosha vitiation. Dear community members, that's all for today. What is the one major key takeaway from today's discussion? Mention in the comment box below. And what do you want to hear in the coming days in this particular channel? Mention in the comment box below, and spread this particular video to maximum number of true Nidana learners so that we can make a huge movement out of this particular small message. Don't forget to press the bell icon so that the YouTube algorithms will be fetching you the right information at the right time for the right purpose. That's all for today. Something more in the next video. Thank you.